Championship rings and things what we about. Competition out, down for the count. DFDUBB's about stacking our clout. No slacking our game, that's without doubt. Every snap, every pass, every running route. Every play of every game, man, we gon' scout. Players might rise and fall and then bust. DFDUBB provides it all you can trust. Trophies on the mantle, dubs on the panel. Opponents can't stand you, don't change the channel. Sit back, relax, take notes for a bit. DFDUBB Scrubs on the throne winning ships. DFDUBB Scrubs coming up.
All right. Welcome to DFDUBB Scrubs podcast. DFDUBB Scrubs, your fantasy plug. I'm your host, Alex, along here with Nambo, aka Big Red, and Christian Crenshaw. We're here to provide you with the best fantasy advice possible. That's DFDUBB Scrubs podcast, spelled with two B's. DFDUBB SCRUBBS. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, whatever podcasts are found. You can find us on that streaming service, or of course, you can find us on YouTube as well. Okay, so I just want to get into a few things, our plans for this podcast. So this particular episode is our top 10 wide receivers. Well, actually, not even necessarily our top 10 wide receivers. It's a top 12 ADP wide receivers. And then we're going to kind of talk about how we feel about them. But we have future plans for top quarterbacks, tight ends. We're going to try to condense that into one episode, if not into two short episodes. After that, we are going to do some mock draft episodes, maybe some undervalued / breakout players, aka as sleepers. And then we're also going to do a couple of risers, busts, and then go over the running back dead zone, which is around what, 3 through 6? Is that what you guys agree with that? 3 to 7, 4 to 7, depending who you ask. And then after the fantasy season starts, obviously we will go over week recaps, go over trades, go over our league trades. And then obviously we're going to do the infamous waiver wire episodes, see who the top picks, who you should invest in and who you shouldn't. Our league actually does the fab budget, so we're definitely going to be including that. And if you're not doing fab budgets at this point for your waiver wires, that's something y'all should definitely get onto, because that order, that's not what's up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also plan on doing some live streaming on Football Sundays, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully in the mornings, maybe during, maybe after, some midnight stuff, maybe a quick recap. I don't know. How you guys feel about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm looking forward to that. I feel like we'll definitely get into a few live streams on Football Sundays.
Okay, then we're also going to be pushing our rankings and our advice on our social media platforms. Our social media guy is Nambo, aka Big Red. So I may post them on the corner of the videos, or maybe just put them in the description somewhere. And then, if you are listening to this, please like and subscribe, comment, what have you. We'd really appreciate it. We are trying to go somewhere with this thing. We think we're pretty knowledgeable, and we want to just help people win some championships here. So I think it'd be kind of cool for people to get an idea of how other home leagues work, because I know I'm also kind of curious, because when we first started our leagues, we're kind of just kind of going with it. So we're going to kind of try to give everybody else an idea of how ours operates. We're also going to be filming our draft. We're going to record it, maybe post like a 30-minute video or something, just trying to give other people an idea of how our league goes about. And then we will have an episode or two about DFDUBB Scrubs, maybe go over last year, do a quick recap of how teams operated, what they could have done better, what they did do right. Nambo is our defending champ, actually. Hopefully, we can kind of see, how lucky he got and what the turning point was.
Exactly.
Funny guy. Funny guy.
It's just facts over here. And then, every league has their seasoned vets, and every league also has their tacos. We're going to try to help everybody equally here. We did have a couple people last year that drafted I'm not gonna say no names, but Sony Michel in the top of the 4th, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then J.K. Dobbins went a few picks later
Very
after
questionable.
after he already tore his ACL. So, yeah,
Stay
hopefully we can
informed.
at least we're trying to help you guys out. So please bear with us, please. But ultimately, like I said, we don't care who it is. We want everybody to have an equal opportunity to win some championships. So that's what we're going to do. DFDUBB Scrubs, your fantasy plug. We have Nambo here going to give us the latest and greatest from the news across the NFL. It's a little light right now, but what you got, man?
Really just one big thing. Murray signing a 5-year deal worth about $230 million. 160 of it guaranteed. That's a big stack of cash right there.
Got
So
that
he's
bag.
definitely going to be with he's definitely the Cardinals guy for the next
Secured
5
the
years.
bag.
So, oh yeah. Other than that, I mean, some pup list additions, but it's training camp, so we'll see how it goes continuing through the training camp till preseason.
Yeah, so like J.K. Dobbins started on the pup, and I think Gus Edwards as well, right?
Yeah,
So,
J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, you
but
got Michael
go ahead.
Thomas, I think too, got
Yeah.
added at some point, but I mean, that's definitely going to change by the end of training camp.
Are you
So.
familiar with the new pup rules? So if they're on pup for the training camp or before the season starts, that doesn't affect them going into the season as long as they're taking off, right?
Right.
I think so.
If
Because they just
they're
changed the
on
rules
pup to
this
start
year.
the season, then they're out a minimum 4 weeks. So
Okay. Yeah, because they
Yeah,
changed
that
it this year.
changed
That's
too.
why.
yeah,
So what is that? Are you saying the 4 weeks is the new change, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's from 6 to 4.
Also John Mechie, maybe not too fantasy relevant, but hopefully he gets better. He got diagnosed with leukemia, probably gonna miss this
Yup.
year. He said it was very curable, so hopefully it's pretty light. So shout out to him, prayers to his family and whatnot, man.
For sure.
You guys got anything else y'all want to bring up before we get into these top wide receivers ADPs?
I
Yeah,
love
real
wide
quick.
receivers, bro. That's all I'm gonna say is I freaking love wide receivers.
Nah,
What do
but
you mean, like the top?
before we
Go ahead, Christian. We'll get into that later. Go ahead, Christian.
All right.
now I was gonna say before we actually get into the wide receivers, I was gonna go ahead and issue an apology for our host Alex over here. In the at the end of the episode last week, we had a trivia question. If anybody paused it to try to answer it, it was 2 questions asked, and me and Nambo, both actually answered the question right. The original question was, Patrick Mahomes and Dak are second among active players with consecutive games with a thrown touchdown, with that number being 12. Who is the number 1 overall with consecutive games with a TD thrown? So in the middle of all that, we're sitting here thinking of the answers and stuff. He changed it to active streak.
I didn't
So
change anything. That was part of the question. I will include that in this clip. I promise you. If y'all watching this will be what I said will be included in the video. I promise you. Touchdown. No. These are active players. An active streak. Okay, so
All right.
okay, I stumbled on the question. Christian got a little butt hurt, but we went over it. He got it.
Spicy boy.
He's 0 for 1, and now he wants to make up for it. It's okay, man. Yeah. So I don't know. Y'all got anything else?
No,
Yeah.
I've been doing
What?
some mock drafts. I'm getting ready, bro.
Hey,
I
let's
got
go.
the itch for
Oh,
it.
mock draft episodes coming soon. I don't know how y'all feel about them. Hopefully everybody likes them. I can go either way with them, but we'll definitely do a few. A quick ones during the week, hopefully, because those are, if we use the Fantasy Pro Draft Wizard, it should be pretty quick. Shout out to Fantasy Pros, man. Sign us, man. What y'all waiting for? Shout out to
think
Red
that's how
Bull
that
too.
works.
Hey, sign us, man. Come on, man.
Oh my gosh. Now you're reaching, bro. Now you're
shout
just
out to Adidas. Hey, man, sign me, bro.
Oh, you got a problem, bro. You got a problem.
All right, let's. So we're, like I said, we're not really doing our actual rankings. We're going off the ADP. We're doing the top 12 ADP. We're gonna start with Cooper Kupp. Do you want me to list them or as we go? Well, we'll go as we go. So obviously the consensus overall, number 1 wide receiver is Cooper Kupp, going as high as number 3, I want to say. So let's just go a little bit into him. I don't know how much we can actually talk about Cooper Kupp. Everybody knows what Cooper Kupp did last year. He basically had the best wide receiver season of all time, fantasy or in actual football. Just in football terms, like that was a really good season. He was a 17 yard shorts of Calvin Johnson's 2012 receiving yard record. So that's still holding in place, but he damn near, got everything else. But it was with an extra game, so I am gonna throw that in there. Shout out to Calvin Johnson. And who's just as a coincidence, who was Calvin Johnson's quarterback? Y'all know?
Matthew
Stafford.
Thank you. Nambo got it first. So Christian's 0 for 2. Matthew
Damn.
Stafford.
You
So
suck, boy.
so Matthew
Hey,
Stafford be
you just take them
slinging.
fat L's.
He's
Take them
slinging.
fat L's, boy.
Matthew Stafford over here
We're
slinging
still
the rock,
early.
baby. So yeah, Matthew Stafford. He's probably gonna be. I don't know, man. Quarterbacks. I mean, we'll get into our quarterback episode, but they're looking kind of strong this year. Matt Stafford's going in the later picks, but he's pretty solid. So, like I said, he had the Cooper Kupp had the best wide receiving year of maybe all time. Breakfast buddies with Matt Stafford. As far as receivers goes, he led the leagues in yards, yak, receptions, targets, red zone targets. Literally everything. Touchdowns. I mean,
Dude's a monster,
the
bro.
problem though, the problem. I mean, odds of repeating the same numbers that he did last year are probably slim to none. But he's probably the safest pick on wide receiver that you can actually get because they're still going to produce. Him and Matt Stafford do have a rapport, so they should run it back. Obviously, it shouldn't be close to what he did this year, but I'm pretty comfortable taking him number 1 overall. Now, I think other players do have a chance at reaching the wide receiver 1 status this season, but it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be the number 1 overall wide receiver taken first. Y'all agree with that, or I know y'all got other people. I know
Yeah,
Christian
no, I
really likes.
agree.
I know Christian really likes Justin Jefferson over there, don't you?
I do, and I wanted to put him, first overall, just with the offense he's gonna be in, being, more pass heavy this season. But man, nothing's really changed in LA, and that rapport he has, Cooper Kupp and Stafford. It's hard to not rank him number 1. I mean,
Right.
the same offense, same thing. They're on the same page, and he finished so far ahead of every other wide receiver. So it'd be hard to put
He
him
was taking in our league. He was taken like in the 3rd round, but we also have keepers, so maybe a 4th round ADP last year. So it could have just been a fluke, and now he's going number 1 overall. We'll find out, but it looks like they were clicking on every single cylinder. Like he was CMC-esque for wide receivers, the way he was producing every game last year.
25 points a game, boy.
Yeah, he was ridiculous.
Average.
Yeah, he was ridiculous. But I don't know, Allen Robinson. I don't know if he's a breakfast guy, but I definitely try to pull up a chair at that table. But that's referring to the breakfast that they have last year.
Yeah, no.
I
Okay.
got that.
All right. So,
I'm
but
just letting you do your thing, bro.
But Justin Jefferson has a good shot at getting that wide receiver 1 role this year.
Bro,
What?
I freaking love Justin Jefferson,
Yeah.
my dude.
He's pretty
he's
awesome.
gonna replace, in my opinion, with the new head coach. He's definitely gonna replace Cooper Kupp at number 1,
Definitely.
100%, bro, 100%.
Wow.
Dude has just been a monster. Ranked number 2 last year, or no, I'm sorry, finished wide receiver 6 and wide receiver 4 the last 2 seasons. Finished, I believe, wide receiver 2 last year. But that was with the run first offense, right? So they got the new head coach this year. He's going to be bringing in a pass happy offense. So I mean, Justin Jefferson is just going to take another leap into elite stardom, as you could say. His current ADP is going about number 6, which, I mean, honestly, I would almost be willing to take him even over the likes of like Austin Eckler, dare I say, or Najee Harris.
I
But
was
I
gonna.
mean, I
I don't mean to
go
cut
ahead.
you off,
What's
but just a quick question: what is y'all cutoff point to take your number one ranked wide receiver? As far as how many running backs are you taking before you take a stab at that first wide receiver? I mean, I know we're a month away from draft season.
maybe
Just
3,
right now, what are you thinking? Who are
maybe
you taking
I'm
3.
probably
first?
going like 4 or 5.
And which running backs are those?
I'd take JT, CMC, or Dalvin Cook, and then I would
And
take Kupp or Jefferson.
well, you take Jefferson, right? Because you just said you thought he'd be
Yeah, I mean, 100% I'd
put your
take
money where your
Jefferson.
mouth is.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. I mean, Kupp should probably be already gone by then, but yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I would
No, I'm
nah.
saying yeah, but that.
I would take Jefferson after those 3
So
running
you had the
backs.
fourth pick. Those three running backs went. You're taking Cup. I mean, or Jefferson, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Jefferson all the
You,
way,
Christian?
100%.
Nah, I'm taking JT, CMC, Derrick Henry, Eckler, and then maybe even Cook or Mixon before I'm jumping to the wide receiver side. There's just not
Oh,
very
7?
many. Cook, yeah, we're around 5 or 6, around 6.
Bro,
Let's
I
call
don't
it that.
know. Yeah. Okay.
There's just not as many running backs to have. So you get one of those top guys is a big deal, and there's so many wide receivers that have so much upside this year. So
100%.
yeah, no,
I
But they're
mean,
not like
I'm
Justin
gonna wait.
Jefferson, so
That's true. There's not whole lot of running backs like
he has the
JT
most
or
reception yards in history in the player's first 2 seasons. Like, why? I'm not gonna pass that up. In a new pass happy offense, I'm gonna take Justin
oh,
Jefferson
dude.
all the way, bro. Like,
I love Justin Jefferson. I agree with you. I'm not gonna say he's gonna definitely be the number one, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was. He's a monster. He's going into that year 3. And he'll probably, if he ended up with the most targets out of anybody, I wouldn't be surprised. He could easily be number one. I ain't gonna not definitely.
but you're debating
You know
putting him number one overall, right? So those rankings could
I
change.
was.
I mean, the
Yeah, I
rankings aren't
was.
set in stone, people. Like we can go back and change it with new information, especially with training camp starting this week. Yeah, we can always adjust. All right. So
For
that's
sure.
still in the air. All right. Well, Justin Jefferson is a beast. He had the all-time receiving rookie record, right, last year.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
not
he
last year,
did.
but 2 years ago when he was a
Oh
rookie.
yeah, Chase broke it.
Chase, that's a very good point. Actual number 3 ADP. So Chase, wide receiver 5 last year, right? Averaging 17.9 points last year per game. He's only 21 years old after a year hiatus from football and reported issues of having hands issues. Remember that? He even fell to the 5th round last year. People are all worried about that. So just
Oof.
another note. Y'all be careful with what y'all hear from these beat writers and whatnot, because they sometimes they're just putting stuff out there just to get their name out there. He won Rookie of the Year last
Yeah, they
year.
scared me away last year.
Yeah, no, they were so wrong.
He was on my do not draft list. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's
Oh,
great.
I'm gonna edit that part out. Christian knows what he's talking about. No, he won Rookie of the Year last year while breaking certain Justin Jefferson. So that Justin Jefferson's record did last a whole year, or not even a whole year, right? Chase and Randy Moss are the only rookies to top 300 PPR points in a season, their first season. So that's some top tier company, bro. He had
That's
two
crazy.
200-yard games last year. Straight up explosive. This dude can take it to the house anytime he gets the ball. He's Tyreek-esque, but in a man's body, basically. Like, this dude is ridiculous. Like, just to be straight, like, I wanted to look more into Jamar Chase because I wasn't really sure what all the hype was about. I mean, obviously I knew what he did last year, but I was like, man, it was just probably circumstance and whatnot. After I looked into it, I started, breaking down some more film. Like, dude, he's probably gonna be the best wide receiver in the league, if not this year and within the next few years. Like, I think he's surpassing Justin Jefferson. As good as Justin Jefferson is, he's a bona fide stud. Jamar Chase is just better, bro. Like, he really he has the opportunity to be that much better. He can run every route. He runs it very well. Like I said, he can take it to the house. He had 18 yards per reception last year, only behind Deebo Samuel, with a minimum of 25 receptions. Um, and he got even better as the playoffs started, right? So his first 2 games, he had back-to-back 100-yard games. He went from 23% target share to 27%. So that Joe Burrow and him were college roommates, right? Along with Justin Jefferson. I mean, not roommates, they were teammates, along with Justin Jefferson. And before COVID happened, Chase was actually profiled to be the better receiver. And last year, if that's his rookie season, and you saw what kind of jump that Justin Jefferson did between his first year and his second year, I don't want to miss on that, bro. Like if I have a number 5 pick, I might take Chase, bro. I really would. He is that good. He's awesome. So coming into his sophomore season, he should get better. He did all of this on 123 targets. 123 targets. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to put a lot of money down that he's gonna have more than that this year. So on 81 receptions, yeah, those numbers are definitely going up on a boosted offensive line, a healthier Joe Burrow. Obviously that offense is primed to be explosive this year. Correct? Like everybody has them being as
Oh yeah.
Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Mixon, Tyler Boyd's still over there. And this guy, he surpassed T. Higgins, who was also another bona fide stud in his rookie season, and basically took over that number 1 spot within a few games. Like literally, it took half the season for them to realize, oh, this guy's a playmaker here. He can get it done. So a couple of cons about him. He had 5 games under 11 PPR points, but that's also including week 18, which he only played 5 snaps. And then he had that weird to begin, like almost half the season, week 10, week 11, if I'm not mistaken, where he had like 13 and then a boom game, 13 and then a boom game. I don't know if y'all remember that. It was kind of weird.
I do.
Yeah.
It was like a pattern.
Yeah, it was
like
weird.
You just knew
And
it
it
was
just
gonna
kept
happen.
going. It kept going to like week 10, week 11.
It's almost like, no, I should sit this guy this week, but
Yeah, like the numbers say he's
because
not
of the
going to do
pattern.
that
But
great.
no, you,
Yeah.
yeah,
So just a little interesting fact that I found out while I was going through all this. So there's as far as the top 10 rookie reception record, 3 of them are 3 rookies from last year cracked that top 10. Christian already knows the answer. Chase was number 10. Nambo, do you have any idea who the other 2 rookies are? 2 rookies that broke the that are in the top 10 all-time rookie reception record.
Oh man.
So who had a lot of catches? Well, I'll tell you. Number 6 was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then the actual all-time rookie reception record was broken by Jalen Waddle last year with 104. So, but that, I mean, I think Chase, his ADP where he's going, it might be his floor, bro. I'm so high on this dude.
nah, man.
He can explode into that number 1 wide receiver real quick. Like if he's not the first wide receiver taken next year, I'd be surprised. I don't know what y'all think.
I agree. Any 3 of these guys right here could finish number 1. They want to be a surprise to no one. That Jamar Chase, those targets, that's something that like surprised me so much. Like out of the top 5 wide receiver finishes, he has like 40 less targets than any of those guys, except for Deebo. And Deebo, was pretty much a running back, half the season.
Yeah, like 8 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, let him get up to 150 targets or something like that. It'd be hard to not see him as the one.
He's scary good, like scary.
Yeah.
But all right, so the number 4 ADP is Davante Adams. Who, Nambo, you want to elaborate on Davante Adams? Just switched teams, signed a massive year. A lot of question marks as far as going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. What you think, man?
Yeah. So I've given a lot of thought to this one, right? Because Davante Adams is a straight monster, right? He's been, I mean, wide receiver one forever. I can't remember since when he wasn't. Like he's just a beast with Aaron Rodgers. Now he's switching over to the Raiders. New quarterback, new team, new head coach. It's a new head coach in period with the team in general. So like it's going to be interesting. There's like everybody's got question marks surrounding him because you got Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller over there, right? They both demand, obviously after the season Hunter Renfrow had last year, they demand, targets. They're productive in this system. So like, I don't think Davante Adams is going to necessarily, I don't know. It's hard to explain because I love me some Davante Adams, but at the same time, like
No, there's
the
major
big
question
question mark
marks.
is how productive is he going to be compared to the previous seasons? And I don't think he's going to be up to par, even close. Without Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball, in 8 games, he's had 47 catches, 531 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, those quarterbacks weren't Derek Carr, but, I mean, Adams is going to be playing on the outside probably most likely a lot. The way that Josh McDaniels has always ran his offense is the slot guy's been the guy, the slot and the tight end. Example, Wes Welker, Edelman, and Amendola. Those guys have just completely off the wall had amazing seasons when, they've played, obviously. So Adams is going to get his targets for sure. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to the 169 targets he had last year. He had 11 touchdowns, over 1,500 yards. I definitely see a dip in the touchdown department. So, I mean, me personally, I don't really like where he's going in at his ADP. I would prefer to take the likes of like Stephon Diggs, Ceedee Lamb over Davante Adams. They're a little bit, they're pretty established. They're going to have awesome years this year. I would feel safer with taking those two for sure. I would even consider DeAndre Swift and Joe Mixon as well. It's just the big question mark is there. Like, you get him, and he just has an off season getting used to playing with Derek Carr. They haven't played together since college. I mean, whether you're best friends or not, you got to play together to continue that chemistry.
I mean, yeah, that is a major question mark. He is downgrading in QBs. I think nobody's gonna argue that fact. But Derek Carr was pretty solid, dude. He's not a slouch either. It's not like
No,
he's
I
going
mean
to.
he's not a bad quarterback by any means, but he's not Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
I'll tell you
I
that
mean, who
much.
is?
There's not
Like,
a whole
and
lot
you
of
gotta
people that
think
are
about
there.
it. In most of Roger or Adams' career, it's just been Adams, Davante Adams. That's it. So he's gonna see the entirety of the volume. I mean, I don't know. The Raiders didn't do much to upgrade that offensive line either, so that's a big concern. I mean, how long is Carr going to be able to hold on the ball before he gets it off? And if he gets it off, who is he going to most likely throw it to? Probably Hunter Renfrow. I mean, or Darren Waller. I mean,
Wow. You think he's throwing it to them before he throws it to Adams?
I do personally, yeah. I mean, after the season Renfrow had last year, 100%. I definitely do.
I mean, but Adams is still going to lead the team in targets, right? I mean, that's a given.
I
5-year,
personally think,
141.25 million
no, for
extension.
sure, but maybe not in his first year with the new team,
So
new
you don't think
system.
think Davante Adams is going to lead that team in targets next year?
I think I would love me some Hunter Renfrow, bro.
So you're not answering the question, though. You kind of tiptoeing, man. You dancing a little bit, bro. You dancing.
Because I'm nervous, bro. Like he could and he definitely couldn't. Like it's like nobody really knows. Like, I mean,
oh, okay.
Davante
Up in
Adams.
the air?
In all reality, yeah, Davante Adams is probably going to be Davante
Okay.
Adams. So, but it's just that big question mark. I feel like there's a lot of things going against him, I guess you could say. So
Yeah, I mean, well, we can we can readdress that later. He's obviously the best wide receiver in the league over the last few years. You know, him, D Hop, Julio. Well, not even Julio anymore. R.I.P. Julio. And we'll send out our actual rankings later, like our first 2 rounds or something like that of who we're gonna pick. So, but yeah,
Yeah, and I don't even think that's a big jump. I got those three guys like all kind of in the
lumped
same
in. Yeah, they're
tier.
in the same tier
You
for
know,
sure.
yeah. I mean, but I don't see any way. Davante Adams doesn't have a huge target volume this year. They made him the second highest paid player in the league. Yeah, follow the money. They're gonna use him, But yeah, with those question marks, he's being drafted around the end of the first. You probably get him an early second. I wouldn't have any problem taking him there, but that's just my opinion.
No, I think the
Um,
top 5 wide receivers being taken this year are all on the same tier, and you're gonna get a steal with whoever that 5th one off the board is gonna be. And that being Chase, Kupp, Diggs, Jefferson, and Davante. So whichever one goes 5th off the board, you're gonna get an absolute steal. But as far as moving on here, we got Stephon Diggs coming in and came up at number 5 as far as ADP goes, which I think he might be that last one taken. He was a wide receiver 7 last year. He's going about the 1-2 turn as well, probably about early second round. He's been an absolute fantasy monster since joining Nambo's team in 2020. Over the last 2 seasons, Diggs has finished top 4 in receptions, targets, yards, and PPR points. Points per game with 18.6, and he's 7th in TD. So that's the only thing he's kind of lacking with over the last 2 years. It's no coincidence he has Josh Allen, who's also had back-to-back fantasy MVP seasons. He's been the best quarterback the last 2 seasons. He has that go-to target hog over there. Gabriel Davis is supposed to emerge this year, but with Manny Sanders and what's the other dude, the Cowboys trainer?
Cole
Yeah,
Beasley.
that dude. Cole Beasley. With them gone, that's probably who's going to soak up those targets. So I'm not too worried about Stephon Diggs. He should be a beast. I think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver regardless. If he doesn't finish that, then something went terribly wrong. Either he got hurt or Josh Allen got hurt. I was going to say that he had a slight chance at wide receiver 1, but I don't think so. But maybe he could crack the top 3. Y'all got any thoughts on Stephon Diggs?
No, man. I think you about covered most of it. I mean, he's a beast.
Yeah.
He's been a beast since he's been in Buffalo. He has one of the highest target shares for in the NFL of his team. So yeah, and said they got rid of Emmanuel Sanders and they got rid of Cole Beasley. Just repeating all the stuff you said,
Yeah.
man. You covered it. I also I don't think he really has a chance at 1. He said I got him in that second tier right there, and I think he'll be a solid choice for
Oh, no,
anybody.
you
He's
got
a
him in the
great wide
second
receiver
tier?
1 option.
If he's in the second tier,
I
he's in
got
the tier
that
on his
first.
own.
Really, I got him in there with Davante and CD.
Oh, you got Davante in the second tier too. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, coming in at number 6, wide receiver 3 last year, fantasy MVP of 2021, probably steal of the draft right before Mr. Cordero Patterson. We have Deebo Samuel. He went in. He got a lot of his production after half the season. Coming in as a running back. He is in contract negotiations right now. He requested a trade from the Niners, said he doesn't want to be a running back. He's a wide receiver, wants to get paid like a wide receiver. We'll see how that goes. If he actually sticks to his guns and is strictly used in the wide receiver form this year, then where we're taking him right now is probably not going to last long. We'll see as the training camp goes and preseason goes, but I don't know how you feel about him, Christian.
Man, I love Deebo. I had him last year in a couple of leagues. He was absolutely a ship winner for you.
Did
But
you win a
this
ship
year,
last year, Christian?
I did not win a ship last
Okay.
year, but I'm sure he won a lot of people some ships.
I was reading
He
somewhere where
outperformed
he was winning
everybody's
ships.
expectations. Well, I mean, what round was he drafted?
It was probably like
He
7 or 8.
mid round. Yeah, man, and and he finishes as the 3, yeah, he's definitely he was a steal. But this year, this is my biggest question mark right here. Just like you were saying, he's made it clear that he doesn't want to be running back wide receiver hybrid or nothing like that. So he's gonna rely heavily on targets, and a lot of fantasy production comes from talent, which is not in question, undebatable. He's one of the most talented guys, uh, in the league. Arguably the most talented guy. With the ball in his hand, he's a monster.
Agreed.
He also had the opportunity. He had 139 touches last year, which ranks second among wide receivers. If he's relying mainly on targets, he's in one of the most run-heavy offenses in the league, who might even be more so run-heavy with Trey Lance. In the back half of last season, Brandon Ayuk came on real strong, so more competition.
Sleeper.
Yeah, he's a big question mark for me. And I do think he'll still finish great. I got him ranked, kind of like a back end wide receiver 1. I think Shanahan's a great coach. He's gonna find a way to get the ball into his playmakers' hands. So I think he'll get some opportunity. It's gonna go way down, and with him being the 6th wide receiver off the board, I don't think I'm gonna see very much Deebo this year.
Yeah, that is a question mark.
I got it.
No, that's a question mark. How's he going to be used? Are they going to repeat that same type of production from him? Or are we going to get that same type of production from him? And then obviously Trey Lance. That's a huge question mark. We don't know how. I mean, projected is that Trey Lance is going to run more, right? So we'll see how that goes. What are you going to say, Nambo?
Yeah. This is Kyle Shanahan, right? He's unpredictable as all hell. Deebo Samuel might as well just be sitting on the bench the first 2 weeks for all we know, because he's just like requested that trade. He's gonna be like, you know what? Sit your ass on the bench. Like
that's a very good point.
Like, you just don't know with Kyle Shanahan. I mean, look at what happened last year with the running backs. Like, what was it? Before
I took Trey Sermon in like the 6th. I took Trey Sermon in like the 6th round last year. Yeah,
everybody drafted him super high. Dude didn't even play last year, bro. Like, it was irrelevant. So I'm not saying he's gonna really do that. I'm just saying you don't really know what Kyle Shanahan is gonna do. Like, he might just say, okay, screw you, Deebo. I'm gonna use you as a running back wide receiver combo. Like, you're on my team. Like, I'm the coach. So I mean, Deebo's still gonna be a viable fantasy threat, but like, how he's going to be used, like you said, is just a giant question mark. Like,
you still got him in your top 10, Nambo?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, so are you taking him or Ceedee Lamb?
I'm taking Ceedee Lamb.
Okay, him or Mike Evans?
Damn, man.
So that's where you start questioning it right there.
I would lean more towards Mike Evans just because no Chris Godwin, but
to begin the year, yeah.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen?
I would take Deebo over Keenan Allen.
Oh, okay. And what about running backs? What about like Aaron Jones or somebody like that?
I
just want to see where y'all mind.
I'm taking him over Aaron Jones.
I'm taking Aaron Jones over Deebo. I feel like it's less of a question mark over there. I think Aaron Jones is gonna get some production, get some volume, some targets. And it's not even a question for me. I'm taking Mike Evans over him.
What about Fat Lenny?
I'd take Lenny over Deebo, but I'd definitely be taking Deebo over Chubb. Yeah, I think. Well, no. Yeah.
That's where I'll probably start questioning it.
Yeah, Lenny is the one for me. It's like that's
what about
that's
Saquon?
I think Deebo still.
I'm taking Deebo.
Taking Deebo over Saquon?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, he's still a freaking monster. Like, he's still guy.
He's gonna be a great fantasy asset.
He may be the best.
If he doesn't see the running back side of things, like, he's gonna still be a productive fantasy asset.
I mean,
like, he's still a top 12. He's still a top 12 wide receiver.
Yeah, he may be the best overall football player in the league. That's how good Deebo Samuel is, or it can be. But I don't know.
I mean, we didn't even get into the injury history on him. I mean, yeah, he played almost
He took a
all
beating. That's
the
probably why he
preseason
wants to
last
get
year.
paid, though.
He wants to get paid like a
Like,
dual player if he's
he
gonna
knows
use
that
that
it's
way,
coming.
bro. Like, that's
Oh,
hard on your body.
Hopefully
if
not.
you draft
Please.
Deebo Samuel and he goes down, blame Christian. So that's CMC and
No,
two bad
I,
Juju's so far. It's CMC and Deebo. That's on Christian.
man, I got nothing but love for Deebo. Get that bag, man. I hope he
But
gets
I
it.
ain't drafting you, so I don't care.
Eh,
Number 7, Tyreek Hill. Okay, he was wide receiver 6 last year. Maybe a bigger question mark, maybe the biggest question mark as far as wide receivers go. He's switched. He's obviously he doesn't have the Hall of Famer Pat Mahomes anymore. He went on down to South Beach, took his talents to Tua over there. So I'm over here trying to find out any type of information or any type of correlation I can find between the Dolphins and the Chiefs, just so I can have some type of take on Tyreek. We all know what he can do. He's fast, he's speedy, and he's a playmaker, right? So, okay, so just bear with me here, but obviously he's Tua, who's notorious for having a weaker arm. He isn't known for throwing deep, but Tyreek isn't necessarily a deep threat. I know a lot of people correlate that because he's so fast. They think he's just a downfield option. But him last year, Tua and Pat Mahomes actually had a very similar ADOT. Let me see. So Pat Mahomes had 7.6 yards, and then Tua had 7.4. So what they're doing, they're getting the ball into the hands of their playmaker close to the line of scrimmage. So you don't necessarily need a huge arm. I don't know why people have that misconception of just Pat Mahomes is always going deep. At least not with Tyreek, at least not the last few years. So that's one thing I did find interesting. Tua doesn't have the strongest arm, but he is accurate. He was 7th in pass completions. He was actually right behind Jimmy G, right? And so the correlation that Tua has with Jimmy G is that the new head coach in Miami was the San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator, right? So this guy knows, like y'all said, the way he knew how to utilize Deebo last year and Brandon Ayuk and how they try to get those playmakers involved and let them make plays. That's what he's going to do. He has Jalen Waddle. He has Tyreek now. I'm not really too concerned about Tyreek's production this year. I know he's going to get used. I'm gonna move him down a little bit just because of the change, and you do have to get acclimated to a new quarterback and new offensive scheme and whatnot. But I know he's gonna produce. So Tyreek isn't what he used to be, but he's still one of the most explosive players to ever touch the field. He tied 3rd for broken tackles with 10, right behind Deebo and Ceedee. Shout out Ceedee Lamb. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about him. The biggest misconception is that all he does is go deep, and that Tua doesn't have the arm to get it there. That's what I found out is that's not the issue whatsoever. Right now he's going as a wide receiver 8, probably around pick 20 towards the end of the 2nd round. I don't know. I might lean towards a low end RB1 or maybe even Mark Andrews, one of those top tight ends. But they didn't give Tyreek the bag to not utilize him because they literally gave up a lot of picks and they paid that dude. He's gonna get used. You have any
I don't
thoughts
want
on
any.
Tyreek
I don't want anything to do with Tyreek, honestly, bro. Like,
at all?
not
Even if
not
he goes in the early 3rd round.
maybe then, but like I'm taking the likes of Mike Evans, Saquon, Fournette, Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, AJ Brown. I'm taking all of those over
You're
Tyreek
taking
Hill.
AJ Brown over Tyreek.
I would even take AJ Brown over Tyreek. I like the setup better.
Is
You
AJ
got
Brown gonna
Jalen
throw to
Waddle,
himself
bro.
over there?
Hey, bro, you talking trash
He
on
might.
Jalen Hurts? You better watch yourself. Didn't you draft Jalen Hurts last year?
Yeah, he had a
So,
lot of rushing touchdowns last year.
yeah, but hey, man, it's don't we're not getting into that.
Yeah, we'll
Say
go
that
into
for
that
later.
next episode.
Nah, I'm not a big fan of Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle, I feel like is gonna be he's gonna be the guy over there. Yeah, they paid Tyreek, but Tua has
And
already got
gave
that
up.
connection with. I mean, they got Mike Gesicki also. You can't. I mean, they got weapons. So I'm not high on Tyreek at all, bro. Mike Evans and Keenan Allen are gonna be way better choices over Tyreek. Saquon, 100%. Mike Andrews, 100%. Mark
Saquon, man.
Andrews. I like me some Saquon this year, but there's
We still got a long way to go. I may change my mind, but I don't know, man. We'll see. But like I said, yeah, I'll probably take a stab at Mark Andrews or maybe Saquon. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna argue with that. It's just a big question mark. But I know they're gonna get him involved. He's gonna. The issue with him is he gonna return his ADP? Like is he gonna return that value of where he's getting picked at currently? I mean, as long as you're not drafting right now, that's not really an issue. We'll see how it all lays out because a month from now, it's gonna be different. What you think about Ceedee Lamb, Christian?
I mean, I'm super excited for Ceedee Lamb, especially
Has
he's
nothing
on
to
the
do with that star
boys.
behind you.
Ain't got nothing to do with that. Ain't got nothing to do with that. I mean, he deserves to wear the 88. By the way, like I think he has the talent, and he's year 3. And that's the year wide receivers usually break out, and he's like got the most perfect opportunity to break out this season. We no more Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup's hurt. He's definitely going to miss some time. And then how long is it going to take for him to, get back to form? Cedric Wilson's gone. I think Dak and the Cowboys are going to rely heavily on CD this year, and I think he'll rise to the occasion. In order for him to do that, though, we are going to have to see something we haven't seen with Dak. Since Dak's been in the league, he hasn't hyper targeted anybody. He Dez Bryant. I think his second year in the league, Dak's second year in the league, he saw a 27% target share. But besides that, most people are around the 20% range. So we are gonna have to see something that we haven't really seen. But I don't think the Cowboys are gonna have an option. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people to throw to out there. There ain't gonna be a whole lot of competition for CD. I got him ranked pretty high. I think he's gonna do great this season.
No love for Jalen Tolbert.
Got any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. So CD was drafted mid-first round for a reason. We have high expectations for him. I'm sure he has high expectations for himself. He's supposed to be the real deal. He's supposed to be a stud number 1 wide receiver, and this is his year to prove it. There's no more Amari Cooper. He's gone. I think CD is probably the best bet as far as being taken outside of the top 12 to finish as a wide receiver 1 this season. In 2019, the last season that Amari Cooper had without Ceedee Lamb, he finished as a wide receiver 10. So that's kind of gives you a little idea of what a true number 1 wide receiver without any secondary target competition. Because I agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to just write off Jalen Tolbert and Dalton Schultz and whatnot, but CD is clearly the number 1 wide receiver. He's definitely going to get the uptick in targets, and he should finish above of where he's being drafted. I think he's a value pick depending on where you pick him.
I mean, not to mention we're also one of the most pass heavy offenses in the league. The last 2 seasons we've been top 5 in pass attempts per game. So I mean, I see him getting a ton of targets this year and making it happen. I think he's like a mid round. In the middle of the wide receiver.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but the Cowboys, they led the league last year in like total yards per game, points per game. Dak was second in passing yards only to Tom Brady. That's because Tom Brady threw like 1,000 more times than he did. Well, not I'm exaggerating. He threw 123.
Second most.
123 more times than Dak did, and the Cowboys finished number 2. Well, shout out to Cooper Rush. He held it down for that 1 week. You got what you feel about Ceedee Lamb now, Bo?
He's gonna be a monster, man. I mean, he's like you guys said. There's no Mari Cooper anymore. There's no Cedric Wilson. So I mean, they just got Dalton Schultz. Really, that's the only person we've seen, other than the rookie they drafted. So, Ceedee Lamb is gonna be a monster, just straight up. I mean, yeah, like I don't know what else to say about him.
Yeah, he should.
I mean, he's gonna see more touchdowns than he did last year. At least I would assume he would. He only had six touchdowns. Um, Amari Cooper, he had 8 touchdowns last year, so those got to go. 104 targets, all that stuff's got to go somewhere, and there's nobody else other than who I would prefer to have fed than Ceedee Lamb. I mean, he's proven last year that he can take whatever. He lined up on the outside 66% of the time, so I mean, obviously, 56% of the time, compared to the slot at 42. So on the outside, he's obviously
And
dominant. So I mean.
he can play anywhere on the field, dude. Like he's that good. He's that talented. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but that dude, he's shifty. He's more than just a possession receiver. That dude, he can run. He can make some moves. He got some what was I gonna say? He's got some juke moves in him. I remember that game against the Saints. Like that dude can make some plays.
You want to get excited about CD? Go watch some tape. When I was doing my rankings, I watched some tape. I was like, yeah, nah, he's more than capable of being the guy in Dallas.
I mean, I think James Washington's probably going to lead the team in receptions, but CD's a solid 2 for sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's a joke. All right, so yeah. Now CD, he's probably a value pick, right? Well, I mean, a couple picks ahead of where I think he may finish. But moving on, enough about the greatest we them boys, you know what I'm saying, Super Bowl champ Ceedee Lamb. We got AJ Brown, who is rumored to be throwing the ball to himself in Philadelphia. I don't know. We'll find out. Crenshaw, what have you heard about AJ Brown this offseason? Is any big changes around him?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like huge deal. Like he's switched teams, went to Philly.
What?
I'm super excited about him. I think he could easily outperform where he's being drafted. I do see him as a value. Yeah, he has Jalen Hurts throwing on the ball. That's a little bit of a question mark. But AJ Brown, he comes from ducks in the league. And I think this year I can see him, seeing the most targets he's had in his career, and even being on that super run heavy offense, he's had a wide receiver 1 finish, and on top of that, he just followed the money and like what Philly paid to get him. They spent a first round draft pick that made him the 5th highest paid wide receiver in the league. They want to throw the ball weeks 1 through 7 last year. They were chunking the ball 35 times a game before they realized, like, hey,
exactly,
we don't have the personnel to do this. So they went out. They spent a check, getting AJ Brown. So if he gets up there, even close to that elite number of targets, like some of those top guys, I feel he's a value. I feel like he'll easily outperform the ADP. I'm gonna be gunning for AJ.
Really? I mean, he does have that. He did have an injured season last year, so that's definitely one of the concerns, if there's any, about him. But AJ Brown is definitely a beast. He can do whatever. He's one of those guys that can take it to the house any given moment. And you're right. Like, they did try to throw the ball last year, so it's that run heavy approach kind of happened a little bit after like week 6, week 7, when they figured out that Jalen Reagor wasn't that dude. Shout out to Philly for not knowing how to draft good wide receivers. Well, jury's still out on Davante Smith. Obviously, I'm joking a little bit. As a Cowboys fan, most of us are Cowboys fans here. Nambo, which team are you rooting for this year?
I don't even like you, bro.
Okay.
Who's the Super Bowl fan?
I already said it.
I'm just messing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm joking. But Jalen Hurts he's gonna be a very highly sought out fantasy quarterback this year. He was he was really good last year, but he did do a lot of it with his legs. The question mark is his accuracy and how well he's going to be able to throw. They brought in, I mean, they put the pieces around him for sure. Like Philly, if he can bring it all together, Philly's going to be scary this year. Like, unfortunately, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. So it's really going to come down to Jalen Hurts. Like, and you know what? Not even. If he just gives him on some slants or something, like that's pretty much all he has to do. He doesn't have to throw it down the field.
He's so good
Yeah,
with the ball. Yeah,
AJ
exactly. I
Brown's
mean,
he's a
just
monster,
like
man. He's
like Deebo. Like
exact.
he's one of the guys like
That's a very good
that's
comp.
in the
I
argument
agree.
of most talented with
AJ
the
Brown
ball in
could
his hand. Like
he could be the
yeah,
RB1 for San Francisco right now. Shit, he could be the RB1 for Philly right now. All right, but that's enough on AJ Brown. That's all the information we got. Hopefully, y'all can do something with that. All right, next on our list, according to ADP, is Mike Evans. Mike Evans has been probably the most undervalued, underappreciated wide receiver one for at least the last 3-4 years. It seems like every year everybody's down on Mike Evans, but he always produces. He does have Tom Brady, who will get him the ball, and he scores a lot of touchdowns, right? So, how you feel about him, Crenshaw?
this is another guy I'm like super excited about. I see him as a super value. He's like you were saying, he's unappreciated, undervalued. He's super reliable, super consistent. He's had 8 seasons in the league. He hasn't had one season under 1,000 yards,
Ever?
and out of those seasons, he's only
Oh, that's
ever
awesome.
ever yeah no the lowest amount he's been right on the edge. 2020 he had 1,006 yards, but yeah, no, he's never finished
He hurt
under a
his leg. He
thousand
said,
yards.
"Coach, put me back in,
Um,
man. Let me finish this out, man."
throw
Yeah.
me a screen. Yeah, and for as far as fantasy production goes, of all these seasons, he's only had 2 seasons outside the top
Mm.
10. So yeah, he's almost a lock to be there. And even more so this year. I mean, we're not sure, if Godwin's going to be there. He may be there week one, maybe not. You wait to hear more
Hmm.
news on him.
Hmm.
Gronk's gone, and in this Tom Brady era, with
AB's
Tampa
gone
Bay,
too. In case y'all
uh,
forgot about that.
AB's gone.
One of
Yeah,
the best
yeah,
resignations from football of all time.
absolutely, he's gonna be remembered. Except for right now when I forgot about
That's why we're a team, baby.
it.
DFDUBB Scrubs, man. We don't miss nothing collectively as a unit.
Yeah. But yeah, now getting back to it, I mean, uh, anytime either one of these guys have missed time with Tom Brady back there, Mike Evans has gone from 16 points per game to 20. Now he has the opportunity to be without both of them. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit, And on top of that, yeah, he scores a lot of touchdowns. So did Gronk. Brady likes throwing it to these big guys in the end zone who can high point the ball.
And they
That's
they it definitely seems like they have a rapport,
shit.
right? So especially when it comes in the red zone, like you can guarantee he's gonna get targeted down there a lot. And he does not have anyone left. Shout out to our producer, Johnny. You can't hear him, but we can see him. He likes turtles.
He got
He
here with
loves
the
turtles.
insights.
Just a little known fact about Johnny.
I like turtles.
Yeah. So Mike, you got anything on Mike Evans,
But
Nambo?
I love me some Mike Evans, man. He's honestly he's gonna see everything go up. I think even if Chris Godwin comes back, because if Chris Godwin comes back, I bet he comes back like towards the middle of the season. So at that point, Tom Brady
Mm.
and Mike Evans are already stuck in a routine, right? Like they're already stuck in a groove of let's go out, yeah,
Rhythm.
rhythm, like
Yeah.
let's go out, score some touchdowns. Like I I don't know. I mean, he finished with 14 touchdowns last season, right? So I bet he goes up to at least 18, 20 this year. Like, you don't have Gronk, you don't have Chris Godwin. Other than that, you don't have anybody. I mean, you have Russell Gage, who's going to be playing in the slot, but I'm not too worried about him, man. I mean, Mike Evans is
for sure,
straight
I like me
monster.
some
Like
Russell
like
Gage
Crenshaw
too.
said, he's finished over 1,000 yards every single season of his career. So, as a guy as reliable as that, I will take him all day.
He's one of the guys.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna try to snatch him early. You know, like I mean, if he's going around that 2-3 turn, you know,
this is gonna be
like
his
I'm,
fall off season.
you know, like mid to.
You're gonna be
It's gonna be
reaching for
what?
him. This is gonna be his fall off season.
No way, bro. The only way, like, I ain't even gonna mention it. You know, I ain't putting no juju on him. There's no way it's his fall off season. You know, like I feel like he's about as big a lock top 10 as you can get. And yeah, I'm gonna reach for him. I'm definitely.
How old
trying
is
to get
Mike
at him.
Evans?
28.
He's
28.
He's in his prime. He should be fine. I mean, and then they throw the ball a lot. Tom Brady has been, I don't know how he's been slinging it over there. He made a deal with the devil. He's like 52 years old right now, but that dude is still out there just
Boy, goated.
throwing rocks, man. So, and Mike Evans,
At a high level,
I
too,
mean, you
man.
throw enough balls. I mean, Mike Evans should be able to catch a few of those. Pause. Enough on Mike. enough on undervalued Mike Evans. And he always seems like a receiver that you don't really target. He's just like, that's who. Well, I guess Mike Evans is my wide receiver one. Like when you're in drafts, you're like, I guess that's who
Like
who
he's
fell to
there.
me.
All right, I'll go ahead and take him.
Yeah,
He's the Aaron Jones of wide receivers. You know, you're not really happy about having Aaron Jones, but he's going to produce for you. You know, like we said in the last episode,
every season.
He's an undervalued running back, undervalued wide receiver, Mike Evans and Aaron Jones.
Disrespect.
Yeah, so on to the next one. We got Keenan Allen, a target hog for the San Diego / Los Angeles Chargers. I thought Crenshaw was gonna take a fourth one in a row, but Nambo, your turn,
Hey,
bro.
boy.
What you get? What you got on Keenan Allen over there, man?
Keenan Allen, bro. He's going as a wide receiver 10 this year. So in most mock drafts, I mean, he's about as reliable as they come in wide receivers. Last year his touchdowns were a little low, but I mean, he's got Justin Herbert throwing, so that's liable, highly likely to go up. He gets massive amounts of targets, remains consistent. Through the past 5 years, he's been a low-end wide receiver 1. I mean, where his ADP is going, I'd take that. He's out of the slot 62% of the time. Big dude like that going on the slot, not a whole lot of people out there going to be able to just control him in the field. So he's not a big, like I said, he's not a big touchdown guy, but he gets tons and tons of targets. And like I've said before, PPR leagues, that's what you want, volume. I mean, I would be taking him over the likes of Tyreek Hill, like I said earlier, AJ Brown. I would even probably take him over Mike Evans, just based off the pure volume that he gets out there on the field, and with Justin Herbert throwing the ball. I mean, you got Mike Williams on the other side, who's always in and out on injuries. So, where he's going, I'd take him all day. I mean, I'm even liable to take him maybe a couple picks early if I'm there.
He may be even more underrated than Mike Evans, Keenan Allen.
I mean, when you talk about receivers, when most people talk about receivers, Keenan Allen's rarely one that gets brought up. He's highly underrated.
Like, at least people know of Mike Evans, and maybe in fantasy drafts he falls a bit lower than he should. But Keenan Allen, he gets disrespected in just any type of circle, fantasy or real football. But he just goes out there and produces, and he's a heck of a wide receiver, especially in that offense this year. That division is gonna be explosive, man.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he's finished top 10 the last 5 seasons maybe, or out of the 5 seasons, 4 out of the 5 seasons. Dude's a monster.
He's been fantastic.
You want to talk about consistency, dude? Like if you look at his stats, it almost looks like it's copy and paste every year. You can just like you can pencil in Dalvin Cook for about 13, 14 games. You can pencil in Keenan Allen for about 100 receptions, about 1,200 yards, 11 to 1,200 yards.
Yo.
Who wants that out of their wide receiver?
Like
for
the last 5 seasons. Right.
No, give me some T. Higgins.
Yeah,
no, just kidding.
Hey, T.
Nothing wrong with
T.
T.
Fuck T.
Higgins.
Higgins. T.
Yeah,
Higgins
he's a
do it,
solid
bro.
wide receiver too. Yeah, it's not Keenan Allen's he's a beast, bro. I remember last year in our draft, it was coming down to the 2-3 turn, and I needed a receiver, and it was between it basically came down because it was a keeper league. It came down to Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson. So I was actually debating that for a little bit, and luckily I was like, no, I'm gonna go with Keenan Allen. Was that last year? Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm gonna go with Keenan Allen, and boy, did I make the right decision because Allen
Probably
Robinson.
one of the most.
Bro, Allen
probably one of the
Robinson was
most
taken he was being taken in the second, third round last year, and now like the turnover every year is ridiculous. That's something we're gonna get into when we get into our leagues and stuff. I'll probably go back a few years back and just look into ADPs and where everybody actually landed. So stay tuned in for that, please, people, because I will look into that because as much research and as much insight as we have on these players and where we think they're gonna land and how they're gonna finish, man, sometimes you just don't know, bro. Sometimes those players that just go off the rails.
Yeah.
But Keenan Allen's solid as can be. But speaking of T. Higgins,
T. Higgins, man. Opposite side of Jamar Chase, who we've already gone over as one of the top 3 wide receivers off the board. Higgins had a 25% target share in games played with Jamar Chase, which is actually higher than Jamar Chase. So he's definitely not being he's being targeted way more, not way more, but a little over
except for the
Chase.
playoffs.
So don't ever count my boy Higgins out.
Except for the
There's
playoffs,
definitely
we'll
our
count it.
wide receiver 1 upside, especially if God forbid Chase goes down.
Golly, Nambo.
Higgins is
Something happens to
Higgins is
Chase.
automatic.
Blame
Bro,
Nambo.
I mean,
At Nambo time, something.
he's going as a wide receiver 12. So I mean, everybody going before him, I would pretty much. I mean, I would take before I take T.D. Higgins just because the upside is there for him. But I mean, I would definitely consider taking him over James Conner, Zeke, Cam Akers, maybe even Saquon. But the only downside to Higgins really is his touchdowns. Doesn't get very many. When it comes to touchdowns, Jamar Chase is the guy. He only had 6 touchdowns last year on 110 targets, just over 1,000 receiving yards. So I mean, that's not something to be frowned upon. Rarely plays the slot, honestly. He's more of the outside guy with Jamar Chase. So not too much to really worry about with Higgins other than the touchdowns. I mean, he gets the volume. He's one of the higher of the targeted guys on that offense. So I mean, I would look for him to have build off of last year and have another good season.
I think he may be one of those guys that goes the rest of his careers as one of those underrated players, one of those Keenan Allens, Mike Evans types where they're just like,
oh yeah,
I guess I got T. Higgins, but this dude, he can ball. He definitely got overshadowed by Chase, but for good reason. Chase is that good, but that takes absolutely nothing away from T. Higgins. He is still a baller, bro. Well,
he averaged more targets. I mean, it's a PPR. He averaged more targets than Jamar Chase.
Right.
He just didn't get the touchdowns. I mean, he's highly underrated.
Because Chase took those touchdowns. Like he literally he made those touchdowns happen.
Those touchdowns.
Yeah.
No, I mean
that's the
Chase
difference. That's the difference in as far as the receivers go. And then, but like I said earlier, Chase did have that uptick in target percentage during the playoffs. So I don't know how that's gonna follow into this year, but yeah, man.
I would say I have Higgins. I got Higgins over Keenan.
Let me see. Shout out to
Samuel,
Nambo's shirt, man.
Tyreek
Let me
Hill.
see your shirt.
Oh yeah.
Hey, DFDUBB Scrubs in the house. You got any thoughts on T. Higgins, Christian?
So, yeah, no, I like
He seems like an
great
outstanding
player.
young man.
And
Seems respectful.
College athlete.
he's good. So
That guy can catch those
so
footballs
no,
with the best of them.
he can catch those balls. Yes, he can. Pause.
Would y'all take T. Higgins or
Yeah.
Michael Pittman?
T. Higgins.
Mike
Michael
Williams.
T. Higgins.
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 Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Higgins. I don't want
We'll
anything.
we'll
to
look
do
into
with
that.
Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody on that Steelers team.
Yeah.
Really?
Nah, bro, I'm good.
I would
I'm gonna stay
probably,
away
I
from
would
the
take
Steelers.
Higgins.
That's crazy. That they they made the playoffs last year with that terrible
Well,
quarterback.
Deontay Johnson.
That Steelers team,
hard.
for some, they always. I mean, I guess shout out to Mike Tomlin, but they always produce.
They got a worse quarterback.
You think worse than insert clip of Ben
I don't think
Roethlisberger
you
falling
get much
down.
Okay.
TJ. First and 10. To Watt. Boy, read beautifully on that line. What great reaction by Sam Hubbard. 10.
But that wraps up our ADP analysis of the top 12 wide receivers. To end the show, we got a little trivia here, little trivia action. This time it's going to be presented by Crenshaw. What you got for us, buddy?
Dax had 14 game-winning drives in his first 3 seasons, which is the most out of any quarterback through any 3-season stretch. Who is number 2?
Currently?
He's active and in the league.
Of all time or during this stretch?
Did I tell y'all how many? It was 14. Yeah, since
So just three consecutive seasons of a quarterback having less than 14 comeback wins, right? This,
yes.
Tony Romo. Nah.
Matthew Stafford.
Not Tony Romo.
All right. I'm gonna go with Tom Brady then.
Nope.
Really? But they're still active in the league?
we'll
Kirk
get it.
Cousins.
Yeah. They're still active.
Let's see. Whose team is bad enough?
Matt Ryan.
Oh, that's a good one.
Matt Ryan, bro. I'm just
You
saying
looked
Matt
up
Ryan, bro. He's old as hell.
I was just about to say whose team has been bad enough but also good enough to be within that.
Atlanta Falcons.
That's good.
Like,
Yeah, that's a good guess. Damn, but Nambo's undefeated in trivia. I'm 0 for 1. Crenshaw's 0 for 3. Nambo's Nambo's 1-1. He's 1-1.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's 1-1. You haven't gotten anything yet.
The last question from the first episode, I got that one right. The original question.
I don't know. Okay. From me, Christian and Nambo, this is DFDUBB Scrubs Podcast. DFDUBB Scrubs, your fantasy plug. We out. Peace.
DFDUBB Scrubs coming up. DFDUBB Scrubs get the dubs. DFDUBB Scrubs is the plug. DFDUBB Scrubs showing love.